So we are discussing a very important chapter for a NEET entrance exam as well as your board exams. This is molecular basis of inheritance. And we have seen in the previous videos that there was a confusion between DNA or protein, that which of these two biomolecules will serve as the genetic material or the biomolecule that will store the genetic information. This was the confusion for the scientists in that particular era, that they were not clear about the role of DNA or protein. And many scientists thought that it may be protein that could actually work as the biomolecule that will store the genetic information. The reason was that protein, because it is a heteropolymer made up of 20 different proteinogenic amino acid, you can easily imagine, can exhibit a large amount of diversity, and the genetic informational molecule must be capable of explaining the huge amount of diversity that characterizes the living world. I hope this thing is absolutely clear. So this was the source of confusion. And I told you in earlier videos that the light was thrown on this question from an unexpected source. So I will advise you to go through my videos on the Griffith experiment, where Griffith actually, who wanted to make a vaccine against the pneumococcus bacteria, actually did a series of experiments and found out the process of, or discovered the process of, what is known as bacterial transformation, and that this bacterial transformation will be a permanent genetic change. These were the two very important outcomes of Griffith experiment. One, that there was a transformation of R strain of pneumococcus into S strain, and therefore it was capable of causing the disease, or was transformed into a pathogenic variant. And number two, we could see, because when we cultured the live S bacteria on the culture medium, they continued to produce the progeny which were actually producing smooth colonies, that the bacterial transformation is a permanent genetic change. And so therefore the conclusion was that something from that heat killed S actually entered into the live R bacterium and transformed the live R bacterium into live S ones, and therefore they started making a capsule around their colonies, and therefore they were capable of evading the immune response by the host immune system, and therefore they were pathogenic. That means they were capable of causing the disease. So that much we know. Now the idea was that if we find this transforming principle, what was the thing in the heat killed S variant that actually transformed live R into live S? And because it was again I'm saying it was a permanent genetic change, we will get the biomolecule that is capable of storing the genetic information. So the idea is that after the Griffith experiment, after the discovery of bacterial transformation, the scientists now needed just to identify that what was the transforming principle, which biomolecule acted as a transforming principle. And once we are able to find exactly that this was the biomolecule that was capable of causing the transformation, we will get the genetic informational molecule that we are seeking for. So I hope this is absolutely clear. Hence, when we look at your NCERT, so this is the topic that we are basically discussing. This is what is called as the search for genetic material. We have already discussed transforming principle, the discovery of transforming principle by Griffith, and now we are looking at biochemical characterization of transforming principle. So we will try to search the biochemical nature of this transforming principle, and hence we will be, after this experiment, we will be able to judge whether it is DNA or protein, the two biomolecules that are the most potent contenders in the initial years for this particular role. So I hope this is absolutely clear. So what I am saying, that when we are going to do these experiments, we will ultimately understand that whether it is DNA or protein that acted as the transforming principle in the Griffith experiment. So this experiment was done by Avery, MacLeod and McCarty. So these are the three scientists actually who did what is called as the biochemical characterization of the transforming principle. So this was the first of the experiments that was done by Avery, MacLeod and McCarty. So this is what we are going to discuss in this video at length. Now, because we are picking up from the Griffith experiment, we know that something transformed live R into live S, and that something was present in the heat killed S. So it makes a common sense to begin the experiment with the heat killed S cell itself, because we are trying to characterize correctly the biochemistry of the transforming principle. So again, I am saying that it is logical and it makes sense that we pick up from the Griffith experiment and we work on that heat killed S, where we believe that something from this heat killed S actually transformed live R into live S. I hope this thing is absolutely clear. This must be logical, this must be self-explanatory. So what they did, so they started with working with the heat killed S cell. So I am saying cell because you know it is a bacterium. Bacterium is a prokaryote, it is a unicellular organism, and that is why I am calling it as a cell. Now what they did, they created what is called as a lysate of this cell. So this is the beginning of the experiment, please understand. So that means we are causing a breakdown of this particular cell that would be called as lysis, and the thing that we will work with will be called as the lysate, and we will be calling it as the heat killed S lysate. So the first step is to convert a cell, break down a cell, and you get what is called as lysate. So lysate can be created by many mechanisms. It can be done by mechanical mechanisms, it can be done by chemical mechanisms, so on and so forth. There are various methods of creating a lysate. But please remember that if you are working with, say for example, a bacterial cell, so or for example a fungal cell, or for example a plant cell, all of them are surrounded by a cell wall. So this thing will also be used in biotechnology. So if you are going to do protoplast fusion, say for example in biotechnology, then you will understand that for that to happen, you have to convert the cell into a protoplast. That means it is a cell without its cell wall. So you will have to remove the cell wall. And it is very logical to understand that if you are beginning with a bacterial cell, you will take lysozyme, because you know that lysozyme breaks the bacterial cell wall. And because the fungal cell wall is made up of chitin, the enzyme used would be chitinase, and similarly cellulase will be used to convert plant cell into protoplast. I hope this thing is absolutely clear. So again, reminding you that if I am converting a cell into a protoplast, I know what is a protoplast, then I will have to remove the cell wall. I will remove the cell wall from only those cells which are actually surrounded by the cell wall, and therefore I am looking at, say for example, bacterial cell, fungal cell and the plant cell. I know the bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. I know the fungal cell wall is made up of a complex nitrogenous polysaccharide which is called as chitin, and the plant cell is basically made up of cellulose. And because the enzymes are named according to the substrate they act upon normally, therefore you know that to convert a fungal cell into a protoplast, you will use chitinase, and therefore you will use cellulase to convert plant cell into protoplast. In bacterial cases, you will use what is called as lysozyme, and this lysozyme breaks the cell wall. I hope this thing is absolutely clear. What actually Avery, MacLeod and McCarty did was that they used a detergent. So they used a detergent to convert a cell or break down the cell. So what we are saying that they took heat killed S cells and they added detergent to it, and when they added a detergent to it, the cell was broken down and the cellular debris was collected on the lower side. So here you will get what is called as cellular debris, you can call it as debris. So this is what we do not need. This will be collected lower down, and this part would be called as the lysate, where you expect to find all the biomolecules that were present in the cell. So this is the first step for Avery, MacLeod and McCarty. Now we will take out the lysate and we will separate the lysate into another test tube. Now this test tube contains only the lysate of the heat killed S, where I am again telling you that all the biomolecules will be present, and we will not be working with the cellular debris, we will be working only with the lysate. So this portion contains only the lysate of the heat killed S cell. I hope this thing is absolutely clear. Now that means this lysate contains all the biomolecules. So for example, it will contain carbohydrates, it will contain, let us say, proteins, and it will contain, let us say, nucleic acids. So we will be considering these three important things that will be present in the lysate, and we know that nucleic acids are of two types. So there would be RNA as well as DNA present here, and we know that we are actually looking for the transforming principle, and the two main contenders are DNA or proteins. This is what we are thinking. We know that the heat killed S is capable of transforming live R into a live S variant, making it pathogenic. So this is what we know. So again I am telling you that I have taken this heat killed S, I have treated it with a detergent, I have broken down the cells, so as to speak, and therefore the cellular debris has been discarded, and I am taking only the lysate, and this lysate is expected to contain all the biomolecules, which include the top two contenders that we are looking for. One is the protein and the other is the DNA. So let us try to do something here. Let us say that this is the carbohydrate. So these red circles, filled circles, let us say they are carbohydrates, and let us say that triangles, so red triangles, these are the filled red triangles, let us say they are proteins. So I am just trying to make impression on this, just trying to give you a clear idea of the things. So what you are seeing as a circle is the carbohydrate present in the lysate. What you are seeing as the triangles are basically the proteins, and you also know that there will be, let us say, there will be DNA, or let us say this cross is RNA, and there is, let us say, DNA as well. So this is what we are saying. So we are saying that these circles are carbohydrates, this is protein, this cross is RNA, and the tick marks are the DNA molecules. So let us say something like this. So what we are saying, generally the DNA molecules will be less. So that means we are saying this is the DNA molecule. So this is the DNA molecule. So we are not considering something like plasmid here. So this is what the lysate will look like. Now the thing was very simple. So the brilliance of every MacLeod and McCarthy is at the fore here. Now try to understand why these great scientists have been able to deduce huge impactful deductions just from simple observation and very simple experiments. So in molecular biology, when I will teach you so many experiments, you have seen the Griffith experiment, now you are seeing the experiment by every MacLeod and McCarthy. There is not a huge setup, there is no multi-billion dollars machineries involved, there is no sophisticated supercomputers involved. They are very simple observations and very simple logical deductions from these observations that these great people are actually able to see. They are in front of our eyes as well, but we are not able to see them. That makes these people very great. And again, please understand, if you want to develop a scientific temperament in your life, it is very important to observe, and this observation is key of learning. So a scientist actually understands what exactly is impactful, what needs to be observed, what needs to be paid attention to, what needs to be registered in the mind out of so many things occurring in front of your eyes. So this is a very important part of developing a scientific temperament. A scientist by nature will have a very keen observation. So let us continue with this. So now it was very easy. It was very easy that they treated this lysate with various enzymes. So now we can achieve enzymatic hydrolysis of the different components, which means that I can remove carbohydrates. So I can remove, say for example, carbohydrates. So I will use an enzyme which will be called as a carbohydrase, let us say, and this enzyme would be S3. This enzyme would be S3. So suppose I added what, S3 into it. Now this enzyme digests carbohydrates and I am calling them as carbohydrase. For the sake of convenience, you know that enzymes are named according to the substrate they act upon. And suppose I add this enzyme into this test tube, what is going to happen? So because enzymes are substrate specific and the substrate for S3 would be only carbohydrates, so they will hydrolyze or digest only and only carbohydrate molecules and not others. So this is a very, very important thing. That means if I am adding S3 to this tube, it is going to affect only and only the carbohydrates. So now because we have added S3, so what we will see that this S3 will actually digest. Let me use this. Let me see what is going to happen, that they are going to digest only the carbohydrate moieties. And you will see they will not act upon the proteins, they will not act upon the RNA, they will not act upon the DNA as well. They remain intact. So this is absolutely clear. So adding this enzyme leads to hydrolysis of carbohydrates, and therefore now what we are left is a lysate that doesn't have minus carbohydrates. It doesn't have carbohydrates. Now, if we add this lysate, which does not contain what, carbohydrate, and if we add this along with live R into mice, what is going to happen? So this was a very simple logical reasoning they gave. So they say that if I digest carbohydrate, and carbohydrate has to do something with the biological transformation, and if I digest the carbohydrate and then added the lysate along with live R to the mice, and presume if I presume that carbohydrate were involved in transformation, there will be no transformation. But if after this procedure the transformation still take place, then we will conclude that carbohydrates do not have a role to play in transformation. This is a very, very simple deduction. So what they did, this lysate, which was minus carbohydrate, was co-injected with live R into mice, and what they observed, that there was transformation. So transformation occurred. That means it is not the carbohydrate that is involved in bacterial transformation. It has to be something from those things which are actually left. So what are left are proteins and RNA as well as DNA. These are the biomolecules left. So what will be the next step? So let us say that now this lysate, we are now treating it with protease. So now you treat it with protease, you have already removed carbohydrates, now you are treating them with protease. You know that carbohydrates are not involved in transformation, so you do not require the presence of carbohydrate now. So you are adding only the proteases here. Now as the name suggests, this protease will be an enzyme that will be hydrolyzing protein. This is very, very interesting now. This is very, very fascinating. This is a very simple experiment they are doing. You can understand where we are trying to reach. So that means if we add protease, and what is going to happen, that the protein molecules will be hydrolyzed. So I am removing what? I am removing the protein molecules. Can you see this? So I am removing the protein molecules. So now I have a lysate that doesn't have carbohydrate and proteins. Now the simple step would be that you co-inject with live R into the mice to see whether transformation takes place or not. Now this is a very, very important thing to understand. So what we are saying, the experiment was done by Avery, MacLeod and McCarty, and when they co-injected the lysate that was not containing any carbohydrate or protein along with live R into the mice, yet still the transformation occurred. So the live R will be transformed into the live S. This gives us a very, very important deduction that it cannot be protein. So that means, please understand, we are worried about whether it is protein or nucleic acid DNA, and I have removed protein from this lysate, and yet I am able to see that there is transformation taking place. The logical simple conclusion is that it cannot be protein. It cannot be protein that will be the transforming principle, because I have removed them, and yet the transformation is occurring. This is very, very simple to say. Now what is left is the nucleic acids, the two of them. So after removing carbohydrates, after removing proteins, what is left in the lysate is only two things. One would be RNA and the other is DNA. So now let us say that we use what is called as an enzyme, which is called as RNase. So I am using an enzyme which is called as RNase. So what effect do you think this RNase will have on these two molecules? So it will act on the RNA molecule, not on DNA, because enzymes are substrate specific, time and again I am saying. So now we have added what is called as RNase. Now this RNase will digest the RNA molecules. This digest what is called as RNA molecules, and we are left with only DNA. And if this lysate is poured into a test tube that is containing chilled alcohol, you will see that DNA molecule will be suspended, and by spooling you can pull out the DNA molecule in pure form. So what I am trying to say to all NEET aspirants here, if the question comes in the NEET entrance exam, who were the scientists who were able to isolate the nucleic acids in pure form? First, the answer would be Avery, McLeod and McCarty. You can easily see what is happening. So what is left is pure DNA. So I am able to isolate pure DNA in pure form. If I want RNA, then I will use DNase and will leave RNA. And therefore DNA will be hydrolyzed and RNA will be left, and I will be able to isolate RNA in pure form. I hope this thing is now making sense. So now we have pure DNA. Now that means if I use this lysate that doesn't have carbohydrate, that doesn't have protein, and that doesn't have RNA, but has only DNA, with live R into mice, and then I will see that yet there is transformation. So still what is happening? Transformation is happening. Now that means RNA was not involved. So what is left? DNA. So what will be the conclusion? The DNA has to be the transforming principle or the genetic information molecule. You can do one more thing. You can use DNase and you digest DNA. So that means you are removing DNA. So if you are using DNase and say for example you leave RNA, if you are thinking about the two nucleic acids and you use DNase, that means you remove what? You remove DNA. And we believe that this is the transforming principle. So that means if I take a lysate that is minus DNA, doesn't contain DNA molecule, and I co-injected live R into mice, I know there will be no transformation. Can you see the two steps? I am making a positive reinforcement to this. So once what I did, I had lysate and only DNA, transformation occurs, and if I remove DNA, it does not occur. So that is a very straightforward conclusion. That is the very straightforward conclusion. Again, please understand what I am saying. I am saying that if you leave only DNA, digest everything else, and you co-inject with live R into the mice, transformation occurs. That means it has to be DNA, because once you removed protein, still transformation occurred. Once you removed RNA, still transformation occurs. So this is the very simple thing, and I am just reinforcing this idea by removing DNA. So let us see what happens if we remove the DNA from the lysate. Still the transformation occurs, then we will have some other inferences. But if I remove only DNA and there is no transformation, that again reinforces the idea that it has to be DNA and DNA alone. I hope this is a very, very important conclusion that you have understood. So that means by this experiment of Avery, McLeod and McCarty, they were able to isolate the transforming principle, and they correctly said that it is DNA and not RNA which will be the informational molecule that will store the genetic information in the living organisms. I hope this thing is absolutely clear. So this is absolutely clear that their conclusion is that DNA has to be the transforming principle. But there is a very important line in your NCERT textbook here. So there is a very important NCERT line. I would like to show you that. So please understand this. They concluded that DNA is the hereditary material. They concluded that the DNA is the hereditary material. But not all biologists were convinced. So this is the line that I am talking about. But not all biologists were convinced. We know about this in text question. Can you think of any difference between DNAs, which is multiple molecules of DNA? You can see these are multiple DNA molecules, and DNAs. This DNAs will be the enzyme that will hydrolyze and digest the DNA biomolecule. So we know the answer of this in text question. Now the idea is that we must be able to understand this line of NCERT, that though it is a direct conclusion that it has to be DNA, why not all biologists were convinced? This is a very, very important thing. So if you read your NCERT, there must be, you read it very, very minutely. So there are some very important lines that we overlook, that look pretty innocuous to us. We think that they are not important, but this line makes some sense because we have isolated DNA in pure form and we are seeing that there is transformation, and because when we remove DNA, we see that there is no transformation. So, and if we remove other molecules, there is a transformation, but we remove DNA, no transformation. We keep only DNA, there is transformation. What else is needed? It is a direct conclusion that it has to be DNA, and rightly so. We credit Avery and MacLeod and McCarty with this thing that yes, they concluded that DNA has to be the genetic material. But why my NCERT is saying that not all biologists were convinced? Now please understand the reason behind it. So that means when the molecular biology was in infancy, not much was known about all of the things. So that means we had very limited knowledge in the beginning, and therefore at that time the structure of the DNA that was known to us was given by Phoebus Levene. So this was the scientist, the model of whose DNA actually we used to follow, and he gave what is called as a tetranucleotide model. So he said that it is a tetranucleotide model, and tetranucleotide models means that these 4 nucleotides, they are repeated again and again, and therefore he gave what is called as a rigidity to the structure, which means that there was lack of variations in the DNA molecule. This is what Phoebus Levene model told us, that DNA doesn't have much of diversity, and we know that if a genetic information molecule doesn't have a much of diversity, it cannot explain the diversity of the living world, which is the most striking feature of the living organisms on this planet. And therefore this molecule has to be smart. There must be some mechanism of changes as well. It must have diversity. Only then we will be able to understand the various forms of life that are prevalent on earth, and therefore not all biologists were yet convinced. And therefore you will see in your NCERT that there was another experiment that was done by Hershey and Chase, and your NCERT says that Hershey and Chase unequivocally proved that DNA is the genetic material. So there was a need of that as well, because not all biologists were convinced. So we will need another experiment to unequivocally prove that it is the DNA and not protein that is the genetic material. So we will see about the Hershey and Chase experiments in the subsequent videos. I hope you have understood this very important thing, and please remember they were the first scientists who actually isolated the nucleic acids in the pure form as well. This must be at the back of your mind always.